Hey, what's up? It's Sifu Kuttel, and in this video, I want to take a quick look at the grandfather of all Dao, the Han Dao. So before we get into the sword itself and what to expect when you get one from LK Chen, I do want to talk about the history because this is a very, very interesting sword. I called it the grandfather of all Dao because this is the first official design of the Dao, and this is something that is the first recorded design. You can't exactly say when it was first invented or when it was first used, but when it was first recorded is already 2,000 years ago. This is a very, very old design, but it's one that lasted over 800 years before it was even modified or changed. Now, this came about during China's introduction into the Iron Age. They had just moved out of their Bronze Age. They were making iron swords when metallurgy had evolved, and it had a huge impact on war and weapons because weapons now could hold their edge, a sharper edge. They could hold that longer. The swords were more durable, and you could actually make the blade itself much longer. So this is something that you would see like in the Han Sha, which is like a spear with a very, very long bladed tip, or you have like the Han Jian, like the flying phoenix here. Now, just so you can see, the Han Dao itself is not even as long as the Han Jian blade. I mean, the entire sword is still shorter than just the blade of the Jian. And this is where it becomes a little bit of an anomaly at the time, because now you have a really short sword. It's not a knife, but it's still considered a sword, and it ended up taking over the battlefield. This was so popular that in one armory, it was recorded to have 150,000 of these just hanging up and ready for the military to use. And it was used either with a shield, they had an angular shield that would protect the body, or it was used with the gorong, which is a very interesting design. And that was something that you could see on the battlefield, but that was also used in civilian dueling. So this was not only popular on the battlefield, but as a common carry weapon itself. All right, let's look at the design. So I really love this design. It's simple, and it's something where on the surface you look at it and you're like, okay, so it's just sword scabbard, that's it. But once you get up close, you actually find how refined and actually elegant this sword really is. I mean, take for example, we have the handle that's a black cord wrapped and the ring pommel. Now, ring pommel is very common with a lot of swords, but when we take a closer look at the cord wrapping, you can see it's a lot more intricate. I like how this one is done, how it's, almost square. This is very common with that with the swords of the time. It fits comfortably in the hand that way, and you always can know where your blade edge is. You're not going to grab this and try to swing it the wrong way. The grip itself is very comfortable, and I don't find myself hitting my palm on the ring pommel, and I don't feel my thumb digging in on the guard. So those things is very comfortable to use on that. Now, the rest of it, you look at the scabbard, it's a black lacquered wood with some brass fittings. And I love the look of the black and the brass. It is just really nice, and having it across the whole sword makes it very cohesive. So it's a really, really beautiful design that way. The central fitting is tied on again with the black cord, so it just kind of keeps that same motif. And it has a very thick metalled brass chape. Now, this part has received a lot of criticism. A lot of people just think it's too thick, but I have to say this is something that LK made the decision. He wanted to keep it very historically accurate. And this is something I always talk about with LK Chen swords, is that LK actually has the chance to handle existing blades from 2,000 years ago. Real antiques. He's able to get up there, physically measure the blades, feel the weight distribution, and even see how the points were ground and the blade edge was ground down. So there's a lot of things that he has that he's able to do that a lot of like the big sword companies can't do because their only reference is from a picture. So you really, really have to appreciate that about it. And honestly, I did make a video about using a sword and scabbard, and we made some good use of this extra thick metal at the edge. Now, another thing, like I said, where you find that very simple on the surface, but once you get up close, you can kind of see that refinement. The scabbard itself, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it on the video, but it is thicker on one end, and it actually tapers down to match the same, it's very similar to the blade itself. So at the spine, it's thick, and then it actually tapers down so it's thinner on the blade edge side. And even how that tapers down is really nice. I think it's a very subtle, beautiful thing. Now the last thing is the scabbard doesn't have much play, so it holds in very nicely. To look at the blade itself, this is a beautiful blade. And again, this is something you may not be able to see in the video, but you will definitely see it once you handle it. First thing to start though is the guard is tiny, almost non-existent. So that does reveal a lot about how this sword was used. It was definitely made for swinging, hacking, slashing. It wasn't used as much or encouraged for stabbing, though we can't be 100% sure on this, but having almost no guard gives you no defense, and if you hit something too hard and you're not holding on strong enough, you have a chance of slicing your own fingers. So just by design, we can deduce that it was probably not made for stabbing. Now, this blade edge is really nice itself. I think the curvature, there's a very subtle curvature you might be able to see. Even though we have the entire blade is sharpened on this side, you have a little bit of curvature here, which is really unique to this. The tip of the blade is a nice point. I really like how that design is. And when you look at the distal taper, it's very thick, and then it tapers down nicely as we get towards the tip. You can also see how the grinding of this sword, if I can get it just right for the video, you can see how it actually grinds inward, and it has a little more taken out, which makes this sword extremely light and agile to use. Now, typically when I do the what to expect part about these videos, I have to explain about, you're using a sword that is probably longer and heavier than the common martial arts weapons that you're practicing with today. If you have just the regular training swords or wushu swords, you're going to find that many of the swords that you get at a cutting grade are much heavier and are at a little bit of a different length than you're used to. This sword is, again, an anomaly because as soon as you put it in your hands, you pretty much need no adjustment. You can start swinging this and it will feel very natural. So if you're a martial artist and you're looking for something where you want to get into cutting, this would be a great introduction. This has lots of control. It's very nimble. When I filmed the video for the techniques with the sword and the scabbard, I found this to be very, very quick, very light, and easy to maneuver. So I was very appreciative about that. Now, I would suggest this on many levels, but if you are looking to get into sword and cutting with swords, this is a great start because it's definitely maneuverable. It's at a length where you can comfortably control it, and it's got a good chopping edge to it. This thing is aggressive. With the little bit of cutting that I've done with it so far, this has made cutting very easy. The other thing is, if you are just looking to get into sword collecting, this is a great sword because it's going to make you want to collect more. It's so fun and so comfortable to use that you're going to find that this is going to be your gateway sword. Now the price point is actually quite low too, so it's not going to be the biggest investment as some of the other swords on the site, and you can see for yourself the quality that LK Chen puts into their swords, so you can actually, when you're looking at some of the other swords, you know what to expect there, because you can tangibly see and feel the quality of the weapon and the quality of the blade. Now, if you are looking to practice your forms with this type of sword, what I would suggest is don't get the sharp version. If you're planning on cutting, get the sharp version. But if you're just practicing your sword forms and if you're practicing your martial arts, I would suggest get the non-sharpened version, because again, this sword is fast to move and you have to make sure that you're fast enough to keep yourself safe from yourself. So again, I highly recommend this sword. This is a great starter if you just want to get into cutting, or if you already do cutting and you already work with sharp blades, you're gonna love this one because it's just a lot of fun to work with. You have to get one to believe me here. It's a very elegant piece, and it's a great sword. So I highly recommend it. Check this one out. I'll leave a link to the sword and scabbard techniques at the top here, and of course down in the description, so you can check that out. And I'll leave all the specifications for this blade down below, and a link to the LK Chen website where you can pick one up today. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you do have this sword already and you have something you want to mention that I didn't, go ahead and drop that down in the comments below. And if it's really good and it's really helpful, I will pin it. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.